One reason people don't make progress is because they're short-term focused. They focus on the temporary pleasures of the day rather than the fulfillment that comes for tomorrow, rather than becoming a better person. So if you choose to put in work, you're going to make progress towards the person you're becoming, and that naturally leads to better results as your action follows the identity. But if you're short-term thinking, what person are you shaping yourself to become? A short-term, fleshly, reaction-driven person, how's that can produce greater progress in your life? But that's how so many people are. And one reason is because people lack fathers. They don't have good fathers in their life to discipline them, to make them not reactional. See, an emotion is an automatic reaction. You can't always control it. For example, if someone hits me in the head, I may have the emotion of anger or frustration rise up. That's an automatic reaction. Now your feeling is that your awareness of that emotion. I may feel angry, I may feel frustrated because someone hit me in the head. That's my feeling. Now your expression is what you do with that. Do I choose to punch them back or do I choose to forgive them? That is my response. And many people, because they never were disciplined by fathers, are driven by their emotions. If someone hits them, they want to hit them back. They don't turn the other cheek. They don't do the nice thing. Instead, they do whatever they're driven by their fleshly lust. And that's why they're so reaction driven. That's why they're so short-term minded. Now, you can't blame everything on their lack of fathers because they had to take full responsibility. And I'm not targeting a single group. I'm saying the mindset of some people, because they don't have something in their life, they weren't trained from young child age. Now, as adults, you see them act as childs. And that can happen to anyone. Maybe you're in an environment where it's cool for that to happen. Or maybe you never trained yourself because you didn't play a sport. You didn't do something that makes you become a better person instead of just getting whatever your flesh wants. So you weren't that in the past. You can make a better decision to be that in the future. The thing about regret is the most painful regret is the one you hang on to. You may not have had a good upbringing. You may not have had a good father. You may not have had a good environment. But that does not shape and determine the choices you make today. See, environment does not determine success. It does not. Your choices within your environment determines your success. I love one thing God's given us, I believe, is free will, the ability to make our own choices. But for some people, that's going to be a terrible thing because on Judgment Day, they'll have to give an account for every time they had the emotional reaction in an idle word, every time they had a bad response because they're driven by their flesh, because they were never trained to be driven not by their flesh, but by their mind. And then when Jesus Christ comes back, he's coming back soon, they're now going to be judged for what they had done in the body. But if they choose right now to change their decisions, they can have a better outcome in the future. That's what my desire is for everyone. When you do better actions, that reinforces that person you're becoming so that naturally you have better actions for yourself. So again, what's another reason people don't do this? Well, it's because they have poor mental states. A mental state is the environment of your mind, what thoughts you allow in and what thoughts you take out. And many people have such poor environments in their mind. And because of that, now they don't have a filter for their emotions, a filter for their thoughts, and whatever fleshly thought pops in their mind, they react to. So a thought of lust, oh, I want to lust after this person. A thought of anger, oh, I want to get this person back. And they're so just driven by automatic reactions, short-term thinking, rather than long-term thinking. What does this thought shape me into? What is the person I'm becoming if I act on this thought? They don't have that. And the thing is, if we actually ask ourselves, what is the implication of the action I'm taking, we would get better results. Some people, when someone makes fun of them, they want to make fun of them back. But if I just thought about a few questions, first is, why is this person making fun of me? Because the reality is most truths are insults hidden behind bad intents. For example, if I'm playing basketball and I say, man, you shoot like Bill Russell, that's an insult. He was a terrible free throw shooter. Look at his stats. It was terrible. So as I say that, well, the truth behind that insult is that they need to work on their shot. So they filter out their thoughts and say, okay, why am I getting this insult? Oh, my jumper's not good. If I work my jumper, I won't get this insult anymore. They can have a better expression, a better response to what happened to them. Now, another question we can ask is, what do I want from my reaction to their insult? If someone insults me in that way, hey, you shot like Bill Russell, you shoot terrible. Well, I can choose to say, man, your shot looks ugly too. That's an automatic reaction. That's my reaction of frustration and resentment. I want to get back at them. And what is the implication of that thought? Oh, well, they're probably going to be mad at me again. Probably going to trash talk all game. It's going to lead to unprofitable thoughts and unprofitable words. Or I could say, okay, do I want that outcome? No, not necessarily. So I say, oh, thank you. And you say thank you to insult, it actually insults the insult. Because now it's like, oh, you just taking it? Okay, might as well not talk to you anymore. It's not fun. So when we think about the implications of what we're going to do, and when we see truths behind what we're saying, we can have better responses and better results in the moment instead of being reaction based. And by doing that over time, guess what? You become a kinder person because you're acting inconsistent with reality. I'd like to say this. There's a proverb in Proverbs 14:13 that says, even in laughter, the heart may sorrow. What that proverb shows us is that your responses don't have to be consistent with your inward realities. So if I'm sorrowful, I can still act happy. If I'm lazy, I can still work hard. And get this, when you act in ways inconsistent for reality for long enough, that then becomes reality. So if I feel sorrowful, but I choose that it's happy, I then become happy. And as I reinforce that happiness, that feeling of responding well to whatever emotion I may have, I become a more happy person. So now my internal state is more likely to default to happiness. And when I continue to have responses like this, guess what I'm doing? I'm ultimately becoming a more loving person. And I love the word love. How can we love others more? Well, it's controlling the inputs. See, inputs create outputs in life. If we want a certain outcome, we have to have the inputs that get us that result. So what is the input that leads to more love for others? Is this doing unto others what you want others to do to you? Because when I treat someone the way I would want to treat myself, I'll be on the path of loving them the way I love myself. What does that take? That takes inconsistent responses. I don't always feel like loving people. I don't always feel like being nice to people and kind. But when I choose to act inconsistent with my feelings, I get the results from my actions that my feelings couldn't have produced on their own. And that leads to greater progress in my life. But this is again where we see people fall. Instead of their actions, they're driven by their feelings. And feelings alone can't bring you great progress in life because they're inconsistent. Some days I feel good, some days I feel bad. Some days I want to punch the person who punched me. Some days I want to forgive. They're inconsistent. And inconsistency does not produce consistency unless it's inconsistency within your internal state. Unless it's choosing to respond not in alignment with your emotions, but with alignment with your mental state. How your thoughts filter your actions. So how can I have a better mental state? A more healthier environment in my mind? You do this. You act. It was a framework I got from my pastor. It's awareness, capture, trade. When an automatic emotion, when a fleshy thought comes to my mind, I don't just act according to it. No, I examine it by asking a question. Is this a helpful thought to have, or should I trade this thought out? Is it destructive? If I find out this thought is destructive, I choose to trade it out with something else, with more profitable thought. Because guess what? You can only think about one thing at a time. So when you choose to think about something positive, naturally you take out whatever is negative. And that positive thought, it leads to more positive action. That positive action leads to more progress in your life as you become a more positive person. And that reinforces the same cycle. And over time, you make exponential progress that people who are emotion driven and do not control the environment in their mind could never make. But going back to the point with fathers, I want to be a great father. See, I don't have many goals in life, but I do have intentions. And one intention I have is saying, hey, I need to do what I need to do so I can get to the point of being a great father. See, an intention is different than a goal. A goal is an aim, an outcome you're looking forward to, you're trying to accomplish. Or an intention is a person you're trying to become. So I'm intending to become a great father. I'm doing that by learning God's scripture, making sure I grow my relationship with Him. I'm doing that by growing my character, growing my wisdom. I'm seeking to become a great father. And if someone asks me, hey, Austin, how many kids do you want to have? I tell them 7. Because I want to raise a generation of kids, of people who can actually respond according to responses and according to wisdom and not be reaction driven. They can stand out at lights and impact their generation for future ages to come. That's what I want to have. And I'm working on that right now. And I wish many people would have that as their goal more. Not necessarily 7, but they'll seek to be great fathers. But who else within their 20s, within their teens are saying, I want to be a great dad? No. Instead, they're focused on goals. They're focused on, hey, I want this outcome. Not that the outcome itself is bad, but sometimes we're so selfish. We don't want to give ourselves to other people. We don't want to love other people. And by not loving other people, we may get the exact outcomes we want to get, but still not be pleasing to God. And as I said earlier in this video, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, is coming back, and we're going to stand before Him and give an account of our lives. And do you want to live a life that was self-indulged, driven by reactions? Or will you live a life that's pleasing to God, for loving other people, sacrificing for other people, and giving to others for the impact of other people. It is your decision, but it has an eternal consequence to it. And my encouragement, as whatever platform I have been blessed with, is to say, yo, be prepared. He's coming back soon, and we will give an account of our lives. Are you ready for it? Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to subscribe and check out future videos. I try to post 2 times a week. And thank you guys for watching.